In this video, we'll learn about adjacent angles. What are adjacent angles? The easiest way to remember them is to remember that definition is they're just angles that are next to each other. So angles that are next to each other. Angles that are next to each other. Okay. Now, there's a more precise definition, and we're going to write that down. So if two angles are adjacent to each other, there's three different criteria that have to be met. They are: the angles must have the same vertex, the angles must have a common side, and the angles must be on opposite sides of the common side. So let's look at an example. So let's look at these two angles, angle X and angle Y. Let's see, are these two adjacent? Well, are they next to each other? Yeah, they're next to each other, but more formally, let's look at the three criteria. The angles must have the same vertex. So A, B, C. The vertex is B. Angle X has a vertex of B. And angle Y also has a vertex of B. C, B, D. So they both have this vertex B. They share it. The angles must have a common side. So angle X uses these two legs to make the angle, and angle Y uses these two legs to make the angle. So this here is shared. That the red is shared. So this is okay. Number 2 is okay. And are the angles on the opposite side of the common side? So if the common side is the red segment, Y is on this side, on the right, and X is on the left. So these are, X and Y are indeed adjacent angles. So let's look at example 2 here. Are angles W and V adjacent? Well, let's look at the three criteria. The angles must have the same vertex. Well, the vertex for angle W is this point right here. This point right here is the vertex for angle W. And the vertex for angle V is this point right here. So they don't have the same vertex. For angle V, it's here, and for angle W, it's here. So these already we say they're not adjacent because the first one is not met, so we don't even have to check the other two. These are not adjacent. So let's look at example 3. Are angle T and U adjacent? Well, let's look at the three criteria. Do they have the same vertex? Well, the vertex for angle T is right here. This is the vertex for angle T, this point right here, and it's also the vertex for angle U. So far the first one, we can put a check mark here. It's fine. The angles must have a common side. Do they have a common side? Well, they don't have a common side. These two sides here, this side and this side, are used for angle T, and this side and this side are used for angle U. They do not share a side. So since they do not have a common side, these two angles are not adjacent. Angle T and U are not adjacent because they do not have a common side. So this side, this leg, and this leg make up T, and this leg and this leg make up U. And over here above, I forgot this, I should have written it down, but angle W and V are not adjacent because they do not have a common vertex. Now let's look at example 4 here. Angle K is this little red angle over here, and angle L is this whole thing from here to here, this green angle. So let's see if these are adjacent. Let's try the criteria. The angles must have the same vertex. So the vertex for angle K is this right here. This makes up the angle K. But it's also the same, it's the same for angle L. They have the same vertex. So that's okay. The angles must have a common side. K uses these two to make their angle, make the angle K. And L uses this one and that one. So this over here, this leg here, is the same. That's one is shared. Let's make it red. So both angles, K and L, they have a common side. They have a common vertex. But criteria 3, the angles are on opposite sides of the common side. If this is the common side, angle L is to the right and angle K is to the right. They are not on opposite sides. So this one, criteria 3, does not work. So L and K are not adjacent. So here I have it written down. L and K are not adjacent because the angles are not on the opposite sides of the common side. They're both on the right. Let's just quickly review. So here we have two examples. An example where these two angles are adjacent. The three criteria are met. Here, these are not adjacent because they don't have the same vertex. This vertex and this vertex not the same, so they are not adjacent. And down here, these ones, they do have the same vertex, but they do not have a common side. There's no common side, so these are not adjacent. And this one here we just did, they have the same vertex and they share a common side, but they're not on opposite sides of the common side, so they are not adjacent.